earlier, for every one person who walks through the door of the V&A, 9.5 people go to the website. So it is, I think, an extremely powerful tool. And I'm very interested in user-generated content. And I thought I'd just talk about 3 projects that we've done, particularly to those people who are just thinking about going digital, or actually going Web 2, perhaps I should say, because I think it's a very exciting area. You don't actually have to have lots of money to do it. You don't have to have big projects. You need some good ideas. I think Web 2 is about task, not technology. Now, this was an early one that we did. We had an exhibition about 1960s fashion, and we thought, how could we involve the visitor in this? And so we invited them to send us their memories of buying clothes in the 1960s. And it was very basic. We actually just asked them to email us their response and to send us a picture if they had one. And it transformed the site, because what comes in when you get people talking about fashion is very often what doesn't come through from curators. They have a very different interest in this. And you get excitement, and you start to find some of the other elements of fashion. And so here is Karen Keeble, and this is her in 1967 in Bieber, and she's recalling listening to the Beatles while she was trying on this dress. And some people sent in images that have this very strong period feel. And this is me at my 21st birthday party. And what you have to be prepared to do is seed these sites. There's no point in leaving an empty site because nobody will contribute to it. And by putting something in there yourself, you can start to tell people what you are expecting. So I would prefer that people put their full name there. I think there's a sort of archive element to this. So if the first ones that go in there, this is one of my colleagues wearing her mother's 1960s dress. And you don't necessarily get huge numbers of contributions, but I think very often they create a different feel to your website. Now, having tried the email and picture that we then just put on the site, we actually had a template designed. And this is something else that you might like to think about, because if you've decided there's a certain type of work that you want to encourage, actually having something that you can manage very easily, so you slot this stuff in, or even your visitor slots it in, and then you just administer it at the back end. That's very good. Now this was we put up a site with the V&A's knitting collection in it. We put up some of our knitting patterns, and we actually there were PDFs so that you could print out the knitting pattern and sit at home and knit it, and some people did, because we found pictures of them wearing these things on their blogs. I mean, I feel that she doesn't quite have the figure for that, and maybe didn't quite get the fact that that was the victory jumper, therefore in red, white and blue, but never mind. Anyway, I mean, it actually is not for us to determine how people do these things. Now, we then invited people to share their knitting, and we put in a constraint here. We said that it should be non-garment knitting. And sometimes people find it easier, and you get more creative things if you limit what you're asking them to do. And I'm always amazed at the stuff that comes in. You get fairly standard things. You get whole knitted tea parties. Figures. That's a knitted uterus. That's a brass handbag. That is a wedding dress made out of plastic supermarket bags. And I've never resisted showing this one. This is somebody in the middle of America who knitted that thing which she's holding with the plunger handles that are on the floor in front of her and the binder twine, and they needed to get a cow up off the ground using a forklift truck, and she needed a sort of swing to do it, so that's how cow slip. So amazing things come back. You cannot believe how interesting some of the stuff is. Now some of it is actually on board, and I will die when I get the next knitted iPod cover. But I think if you ask people to contribute things, and I mean, we get rid of anything that is offensive, we get rid of anything that's irrelevant, and we get rid of anything that is actually half-finished. But I think otherwise, we accept everything. And what we've added to this template is the ability to rate things. So we drop the more boring stuff to the bottom of the site so that visitors see the most interesting stuff first. And then finally, the World Beach Project. This was a wonderful project, and it's still going. Sue Lawty did a residency at the V&A. She was deeply hostile to technology. And she really didn't want to do a blog when we asked her to do it, but she very kindly had a go. She's a tapestry artist, and she also draws in stone. And these were the kinds of things she was looking at the V&A. And then she started to get into this, and she put pictures of her studio on her blog. She put pictures of her, her sketchbook. She talked about running on the York Moors, and she was really sharing her creative process. And she suddenly decided to go and get a digital camera, which she hadn't done before, and started sending us images faster than we could put them up. And then she got an email from New Zealand by somebody saying that they had been looking at her blog and that they had started to create their own artwork following her kind of principles. And from this, she came up with an idea for a project which we call the World Beach Project. And we asked people to send us 3 images. One of a piece of artwork that they had created on their local beach, one of them doing it, and one of the environment in which they did it. And we had created a Google map, and we've got 400 contributions from every continent in the world, except for Antarctica. And I have to say, we haven't actually promoted this very hard. This is word of mouth that has operated here, or maybe I should say, word of blog, perhaps. And, I mean, that's where you can see that all the contributions come from Britain. And it is one of those very good projects where everyone can do it at their own level. School children can do it, but graphic artists can do it as well. So that seems to me to be the ideal project. And I just thought I'd just show you 1 or 2 of the things that have come in. Some people choose to do their work underwater. This is quite cheaty. I mean, Sue Lawty is very keen that it is just the local stone. I don't know whether you've ever tried doing this, but that must represent hours and hours of work. And again, I am just amazed at the sorts of things that come in. So I just thought I'd show you those. If you want to find more of our user-generated stuff, on our homepage we've got a section called Things to Do, and you will find all the stuff listed there. I know our website needs a lot of redesign, so it's getting a bit out of date now. But do try these things, try small things, and I entirely concur with the person who says, be prepared to fail and move on. And you will find, if you haven't done this already, it's really exciting.